man as coach, you look at me as dad. Do it look like his son supposed to be taking your dad? I don't even feel right. Y'all hear this time? Oh, Tank don't pay his coach.
Hey, come on now.
Coach Barry Hunter trained Tank for this fight with Lamont Roach, not Calvin Ford. A lot of people were saying that this performance has something to do with that. So, is something really going on between Calvin Ford and Tank Davis? Check out what Tank had to say.
Tank Davis faces career-threatening lawsuit. WBA lightweight champion Gervonta "Tank" Davis is in the fight of his life, and this time, it's not in the boxing ring. After narrowly avoiding jail time for a probation violation, Davis now faces an even bigger challenge, a lawsuit that could jeopardize his career. Lamont Roach's team has taken legal action, contesting the controversial majority draw decision. They argue that Davis's own words in the ring serve as evidence that the fight was rigged.
Lamont Roach, his coach, or his manager, or whoever it is, his trainer, somebody filed a lawsuit, right?
His lawyer filed a lawsuit.
Yeah.
In the closing moments of the fight, as Lamont Roach continued to challenge Gervonta "Tank" Davis, the champion uttered the words now fueling a legal firestorm. "You ain't going to win, they ain't going to give it to you." At the time, many brushed it off as typical mind games from Davis, but Roach's legal team sees it differently. They argue that this statement was an open admission of corruption, using it as the cornerstone of their lawsuit to challenge the controversial majority draw decision. Roach's legal team presents a straightforward argument. If Gervonta "Tank" Davis knew the outcome before the scorecards were read, something was clearly wrong. They insist the fight was meant to be fair, but was instead manipulated behind the scenes. This lawsuit isn't just about overturning the decision, it's about exposing what they call a blatant robbery in boxing. And if the court rules in their favor, Davis could be barred from the ring for the next 28 months.
To being thrown, it has to be a knockdown. I've heard some people saying, oh, that he should be disqualified. He went back to the corner. I don't buy that, to be honest with you. I think that's all.
Say 28-month suspension would mean over 2 years of forced inactivity, an absence that could drastically alter Gervonta "Tank" Davis's career at 30. In a fast-moving sport like boxing, that much time away could leave him struggling to reclaim his place while younger fighters rise to the top. This legal battle couldn't have come at a worse time. Already burdened by a history of legal troubles, Davis recently found himself in even deeper waters after violating probation yet again. His unauthorized departure from Florida, despite being given multiple chances, led the judge to question whether he has any respect for the law. During the hearing, the judge made it clear that she had already shown leniency toward Gervonta "Tank" Davis. She had even granted him special permission to attend the 2024 Paris Olympics to support Team USA boxing, yet he still chose to break the rules and travel without approval. His probation officers weren't pleased either. One admitted that reaching Davis was so difficult, they had to go through his team just to contact him. The state pushed for jail time, with one attorney recommending a $25,000 fine on top of it. Despite everything, the judge opted not to send him back to jail. Instead, she extended his probation by another 18 months and issued a $10,000 fine. But the real punishment isn't the fine or probation, it's the lawsuit that now threatens to derail his career. The situation is already bad for Gervonta "Tank" Davis, but what makes it even worse is that he no longer has his most trusted advisor by his side. Calvin Ford, the veteran trainer who helped guide Tank to superstardom, is no longer part of his team, and now he's speaking out about what's going wrong. Ford has seen it all. He was there when Tank faced legal troubles in the past, but still managed to stay focused on his career. In his opinion, the key difference back then was Floyd Mayweather. Tank is a fighter. That's what he does best. He should stick to that, Ford said when asked about the current situation. Boxing politics is different. It takes experience. That's how Floyd helped Tank stay great, even in the middle of legal trouble before.
Like, when I ain't had no pops, Calvin was the person that you feel me, stepped in them shoes. So no matter if he's not my coach, anything like that, he's always gonna be in my.
Ford's comments weren't just advice. They were a reminder. He pointed out that when Tank was under Mayweather's guidance, he managed to navigate his legal troubles without them derailing his career. Floyd had faced his own problems outside the ring, but he knew how to balance it all while still dominating the sport. With his experience, connections, and deep understanding of boxing's toughest business and legal challenges, he kept Tank focused and protected.
The thing I want to touch on is the Floyd situation. You know, Floyd is Floyd. That's like I say, Tank is Tank, man. But at the end of the day, you know, the man is chasing greatness. And you should be supporting that. And I always tell you that. You should be supporting that, you know. It's a rocky road that we see what's going on. Just pay.
Now, Tank is trying to do things his own way, and Ford believes that's his biggest mistake. The legal system doesn't care about his knockouts, and the courts aren't impressed by his championship belts. Without the right people guiding him, his career could unravel before he even gets the chance to fight again. And according to Ford, maybe Tank brought this on himself by walking away from the team that helped make him great.
You know, Calvin, he been with me since I was 7. I used to sleep in Coach Calvin's house. I used to sleep at his job when he was working at a seafood restaurant in Baltimore.
Tank's biggest problem isn't just this lawsuit, it's his reputation in boxing. If the court finds any evidence that the Roach fight was manipulated, the consequences could go far beyond a suspension. He risks becoming an outcast in the sport. Boxing has always had its share of controversies, but once a fighter is labeled as corrupt, redemption is nearly impossible. Sponsors pull out, networks hesitate to broadcast their fights, and sanctioning bodies may even strip them of their titles. For Tank, who built his career on being a knockout artist and one of the sport's most exciting fighters, this would be nothing short of a disaster.
If Coach Calvin was in his corner, he said, we'll see.
Right, because it's nobody's business, but, you know, he didn't mean anything by that, you know.
Facts, there you go.
They forever family.
The Roach fight was already one of Tank's worst performances, and now with this lawsuit it's under even more scrutiny. Did he genuinely struggle that night, or was something else at play? Was the fight truly close, or was the outcome predetermined before the first bell? These are the questions being asked by boxing fans, analysts, and even fellow fighters. And with Calvin Ford no longer in his corner, Tank has lost a steady voice of experience, the one that once kept him focused when everything was on the line.
Was the first one in the gym, the last one out the gym. Tank used to sit on the ring like this and watch me train him.
How old is he at this point?
He was like 7, 8.
Okay.
A lot of stuff that I was giving my son was giving it to Tank. So it was a perfect fit. The Tank was like the
If Tank doesn't get ahead of this situation, it could spiral even further out of control. The court's ruling on this lawsuit will determine everything. If he's found guilty of any wrongdoing, his 28-month suspension could turn into something even longer. Ford's message was clear. Tank needs to get back to being a fighter. He has to stop trying to handle the business side of boxing without the right people guiding him. More than anything, he must stay out of trouble, avoid further legal issues, and prove that he still belongs at the top. Because right now, boxing is moving on without him. For years, Calvin Ford and Gervonta "Tank" Davis were inseparable. Their bond went beyond boxing, it was personal. Ford had been there from the very beginning, shaping Davis into the star he is today. Fans never imagined seeing Tank in a major fight without him, but then came March 1st. For the first time, Davis stepped into the ring without Ford in his corner, and for the first time he didn't win. His fight against Lamont Roach ended in a majority draw. Some called it a robbery, while others saw it as karma for breaking up a winning team. The exact reason for their split remains unclear. Ford downplayed it, simply saying he took a step back. But in a recent interview, his words suggested there was more to the story.
Man, I'm not. Honestly, I thought I should have won without that being counted a knockdown. Look, I ain't the ref. I ain't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he had to wipe sweat out his eye, he had to wipe sweat out his eye. But the rules do state, if you voluntarily take a knee, then that's an automatic.
He came to see me, dead slow down, and worrying about you. Because boom, he knows I spend time with my amateurs, Ford said. You know me. Both of y'all know me very well. I spend time with my amateurs all the time. That's my piece. On the surface, it sounds like Ford simply wanted to focus on his younger fighters. But for many, that explanation doesn't quite add up. Ford had always balanced training amateurs while still being there for Tank. So why would he suddenly step back from his biggest fighter right before one of the most controversial fights of Tank's career?
Calvin is Calvin, you know what I mean? I got Calvin tatted on me. Calvin ain't going nowhere. Y'all don't even know Calvin for CCO. I know Calvin, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Insiders believe Calvin. Ford wasn't happy with the way Tank was handling his career. The lawsuit over the Roach fight, the legal troubles, and the constant chaos surrounding his name. Ford had seen it all before, fighters with immense talent who let distractions derail their potential. Maybe he didn't want to be part of another downfall. It's also important to remember that Ford was always a loyal soldier under Mayweather Promotions.
Hey, Tank, real talk. Will Calvin be with you on this fight? Come on, you Tank. Huh? Will Calvin be with you on this fight?
I don't know. We gotta see.
He saw firsthand how Floyd Mayweather guided Tank through the business side of boxing. But once Tank left Mayweather and took control of his own career, everything changed. Fights became harder to secure, legal troubles piled up, and now he's facing a possible 28-month ban from the sport. Would things have been different if Ford had still been in his corner? That's the big question.
It's gonna be great for me. I got 2 head coaches in the corner, so it's gonna be fire to me. I'm probably the only one that can do that or ever done it in the sport. Like bring 2 head coaches together. You know what I mean? So it worked out in my favor, man. You know what I mean?